Hello there and welcome back to Music Theory 1. We're on chapter 6 now and we're looking at rests. This should be another quick one from me. I'll try to keep it as efficient as possible. Here we go. So there are a number of rest symbols. The first symbol for a rest is the semi-breve rest, and the semi-breve rest hangs down below the line it's written on, and if we have no line we have to draw a little line to show it if we have it free floating in space. So that is the rest equivalent to one of these. We have the minim rest, which sits above the line. You can think of the minim rest as heavier, the semi-breve rest as heavier and longer and therefore hanging below the line. We have the crotchet rest, which looks like this. There is an old French style of this, which looks like this, which I do not recommend you use. So like a backwards 7. You'll see why in a minute, because the quaver rest is a frontwards kind of 7 looking thing. And we also have the semi-quaver rest, which is a double version of that. Just like the semi-quaver has 2 tails, the rest has 2 sheets. So we have the semi-breve rest, worth 4 beats, 4 crotchet beats we should say. We have the minim rest. You can of course use the American names if you want, the half note rest and the whole note rest respectively. Why am I writing that like that? That's terrible. The minim rest, which is worth 2 crotchet beats. We've got the crotchet rest, or the quarter note rest if you prefer the American term, which is worth 1 beat. We've got the quaver rest, which is worth 1/2 beat. This is all if we consider our beats to be crotchets, which in grade 1 all our beats are always crotchets, so that's fine. But as we go up we'll see that they are worth slightly different. So we've got the semi-quaver rest, which is 1/4 of a beat in anything 4 time where the beat unit is the crotchet. Okay, so just those 5 to learn, and I've got a little bit of guidance and an exercise for you first. So make a note of those. You might want to make some flashcards to learn them. Not too many to learn this time. So here is a little bit of guidance and an exercise. So as you can see, when we draw it on the staff, the semi-breve rest hangs down below the line, and the minim half note rest sits on a line, usually the 3rd line, like so. Usually we will explore that in a much future class. You can think of it as always for now. So we can draw a crotchet rest as I said earlier in those 2 ways. I recommend the first one, and a little bit of practice drawing the crotchet rest. So a little zigzag and then a backward C starting from just above that 4th line. It's actually pretty easy once you get used to it. So draw a few of those, draw as many as you like, fill the whole line if you want. And if you want to practice doing the other ones, you can. There are some more. Okay, so that's first exercise all done. Okay, and because we know the value of these and we know the value of notes, we should be able to do the next exercise pretty quickly and make for a super short video. This might be the shortest one so far. Let's have a go. So second exercise for this chapter, a bit like we filled out notes to fit some rhythms. We've now got some little tunes, which we're going to put some rests in. There's a nice example there where at the asterisk they've added there. A completely silent bar is always written with a semi-breve, even if that would normally be worth 4 beats. It just means whole bar rest. In pretty much every time signature, there is one exception to that, which we'll deal with in a future grade, but you don't need to deal with it now. And it's very rare to see it in the real world as well, but there is one exception. Okay, so in the example, we can see we've got this 2-beat rest, and if I write in the beats, just so you can see how the rhythms work, I think that would be super. You should probably do this as well. You can see that minimum rest worth 2 beats, beats 3 and 4 in this example. Then we can see a nice crotchet beat rest on beat 3. We can see a nice quaver rest on beat 2, meaning that the quaver is on the half of beat 2. And finally a minim rest at the end on beats 3 and 4. And this sounds like this. I'll sing it in a kind of tenor-ish range. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4. So, do, rest, rest. Re, so, rest. So, fa, rest. Ti, ah. I abandoned my solfege halfway through there. Possibly bad of me, but hopefully that helps you understand how that sounds. Now we can do the exercise that we've been set, and we need to add a rest. So let's write the beats all the way through. It's good for us. So 1 and 2, and then this will be beat 3. This is 1 and 2, and this will be beat 3, but it's only half a beat, so we need something on the and in this case it's going to be a rest. This is quite a nice thing to do because it makes the end of the phrase a little bit shorter, so we come off cleanly. So far this sounds like this. Mi, fa, sol, re. Notice that re was shorter than the fa on the beat 3 of the previous bar. Now we've got a whole bar rest. Now remember, the whole bar rest, even though it's worth 3 beats in 3/4, we still write the semi-breve rest to mean a whole bar. Okay, so that's, although it looks like that should be worth 4 beats, it's still worth 3 because we're in 3/4, and that has a sort of supplanting meaning of a whole bar. So yeah, just as it says here. The next bar, everything is already full and there's no asterisk, so we don't need to add anything, but we have a little rhythm that I can write out for you. And then in the next bar, that's beats 1 and 2. Oh, that's the 3. We need something on the and, but look, we've got an at the end, extra quarter of a beat, so that means what we are missing is a semi-quaver rest. And then that gives us the finished little melody, which I will sing for you now. It goes like this. Mi, fa, sol, re. 1, 2, 3. Do, mi, re, do, ti, so, fa, mi, do. That little quick fa at the end there. On to the next beat. Now we've got a classic pattern here, very, very commonly used by composers in B, where we start with a semi-quaver rest and then do a little run up, making 1 and 2 and for a nice complete bar of 2/4. The next bar is already complete. Oh, that's a 1 and. Sorry, everybody. And then we've got here, oh, look, we've got 2 and at the end. This must be the and of 1, so that's the 1. That means that's a nice quaver rest. The next bar is complete. And, oh, looks like we've just got 1 beat in that that final bar, so that means a crotchet rest to finish off our little tune. And it sounds like this. 1, 2, 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, 1, 2. With the rest on the 2 at the end there. And thank goodness the final example is in a nice bass clef, so I can sing. You can hear me sing in a nicer register for me. We've got 4/4, and we've got a completely empty bar as our first thing, but we should maybe write the beats in there. So completely empty bar, semi-groove rest, actually worth 4 this time, but it just means, as I said before, a whole bar off. Write the beats in there. This looks like 2 beats, and it's right at the end of the bar, so they must be beats 3 and 4. So we are missing a 2-beat rest at the beginning. Can be a minimum rest like that. Beginning of the bar, 1, 2, 3. Oh, looks like beat 4 is missing its first thing. We've got an and there, so quaver rest to fill it up, and then 1, 2, and 3. Oh, okay, so a 4 is missing crotchet rest. Okay, hope you did well at that, and that makes sense to you now. And it sounds like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do, sol, rest, 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 rest. Re, sol, rest, rest. Re, fa, mi, do, la. Re, ti, la, re, sol. And there we go. And that is it for rests for grade 1. I'll see you in the next one where we're going to be learning about ties. See you then.